There are very few sounds that give you that instant pit in your stomach feeling, like the thwack of a rock hitting your windshield on the highway.
Oh, yeah. You hear it before you see it.
You absolutely do. You wince, you lean over, and there it is. That little star-shaped chip just
Jeez.
staring back at you.
That tiny little chip, it's really more than just a cosmetic thing. It's a structural liability.
Right.
And that immediate decision you have to make, do I repair this or do I have to replace the whole thing? It's actually critical, not just for your wallet, but really for the safety of the car itself.
Exactly. This is what we're getting into today. It's not just about glass, it's about integrity. So we're doing a deep dive.
Okay.
We've looked at everything from auto insurance reports to, technical repair manuals.
Honestly, nitty-gritty stuff.
And our mission today is to unpack the actual criteria, the mechanics, the costs, and, the real impact of fixing a crack versus just going for a full, expensive replacement.
Because most people just assume, oh, it's cracked, I need a new one. But our job is to give you the specific rules, the size, the location, the timing that determine if it's even repairable. And then, compare the benefits of choosing repair.
And here's the good news we found right off the bat in the sources.
There is good news.
The fundamental answer is yes. A lot of cracked windshields can be fixed. If the conditions are right, you can save a ton of time and, honestly, hundreds of dollars.
It's the less intrusive path. It's more sustainable, and it's often the perfectly right choice, as long as you act fast and you understand the limits.
So let's get into those limits. Let's say you're sitting in your car right now, looking at the damage. How do you know if you're a repair candidate or if you should just be calling for a replacement? What's the basic rule?
The first rule of thumb is really all about space.
Okay.
If the crack or the chip is roughly smaller than a dollar bill.
Which is what, about 6 inches?
About 6 inches, exactly. And if it's not directly in your main line of sight, then you are very likely a good candidate for repair.
6 inches actually sounds kind of long for something that you're just going to, patch up.
It does, but that's what modern resins can handle.
Yeah.
6 inches is sort of the standard maximum length.
Is there a reason for that specific number? Or why, say, a star-shaped crack is better than another kind?
Yeah, it all comes down to the physics of glass stress.
Right.
Things like star shapes, bullseyes, even short straight lines. They're good candidates because a professional can get the resin to penetrate that entire fracture pattern.
Okay.
But once you get past 6 inches, the stress lines just get too long, too complex. It's almost impossible for the resin to travel that whole distance and get that molecular bond you need.
So size matters, but you said location might matter even more. The line of sight is a big one, but are there other no-go zones on the windshield?
Absolutely. We're talking safety first, always.
Sure.
If that damage is right in the driver's primary viewing area, so that critical 12 to 18 inches right in front of the steering wheel replacement is mandatory. It doesn't matter how small it is.
And why is that? Just because of the visual distraction?
It's because even a perfect repair can cause a tiny bit of visual distortion, a little bit of refraction.
Yeah.
And that's just not acceptable right in your direct field of vision.
And I've also heard that if the damage is too close to the edge of the windshield, that's also an immediate replacement.
That's a huge one. And it's because the windshield is actually a structural part of your car.
I think most people don't realize that.
No, not at all. It provides up to 45% of the roof's strength in a rollover.
Wow.
So if a crack gets into that last inch or two of the glass, it compromises the seal, the urethane bead, and it just weakens the entire frame. It's too risky.
That structural element is really the key here. And that brings us to the fourth factor, which is time. Why is waiting on a tiny chip such a bad idea?
Speed is everything. It's absolutely critical.
Okay.
A successful repair depends on the resin bonding chemically with clean, pristine glass. If you drive around for a few weeks, that crack fills up with dirt, moisture, car wash soap.
All the road grime.
All of it. And that stuff gets in the way of the bond. A pro can clean it, but they can never get it back to how it was right after the impact. Fresh damage is the key to a good repair.
Okay, so we know the criteria now. Let's talk about the part everyone's really waiting for, the money, the dollars and cents.
The cost difference is, it's immense.
I bet.
Repairing a single crack is typically somewhere in the $60 to $150 range.
Okay, pretty manageable.
Very, but a full replacement, that starts around $200 and can easily go up to $500, maybe even $800 or more if you have complex sensors in your windshield.
That's a huge jump, but there was this one financial insight we found in the insurance reports that is a real game changer for people.
This is the part you really need to hear. This is where you can often get this fixed for free.
For free?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of insurance companies actively want you to repair it, not replace it.
Because it saves them money.
It saves them a ton of money.
Hmm.
So because the repair cost is so low, they will often waive your deductible entirely.
So if my deductible is $500?
And the repair is $100, they just pay the $100 and you pay nothing out of pocket. It's why your first call should always be to your insurance provider.
That's a massive incentive to get it fixed fast. Now let's talk about the process itself. It's pretty quick, right? Like 30 to 60 minutes.
Yeah, it's fair.
Let's walk through it, but maybe focus on the technical challenges. The goal is to fill that tiny void perfectly.
Exactly. So the technician starts with a really aggressive cleaning. Then they position this special tool called a bridge over the crack. It's basically a pressure control device.
And this leads to something that sounds a little scary. You said they sometimes have to drill into the glass.
They do. It sounds counterintuitive, I know.
Yeah, aren't you worried about making it worse?
That's the critical question. But they're using a tiny, superfine drill bit, and it's all very controlled. The goal isn't to make the damage deeper. It's to create a clean, open pathway for the resin to get all the way to the bottom layer of the crack.
Ah, so without that, you'd trap air bubbles.
You trap air, debris, moisture, and the resin would never fully fill the fracture. It's a crucial step.
So after that, the magic happens, the resin gets injected, and this is not just some kind of super glue, right?
Oh, not at all.
Oh.
This is a highly specialized acrylic or epoxy resin.
Mm-hmm.
It's injected under controlled pressure. They often use a vacuum cycle first to pull all the air out,
I see.
and then they use pressure to force the resin into every last microscopic crevice. That's the real difference between a pro job and a DIY kit, that control over pressure.
And then they just cure it with a UV light, polish it smooth, and you're done. It's more of a restoration than a patch.
Exactly. So if we look past the immediate savings in time and money, the structural benefits are maybe even more compelling.
We mentioned the speed under an hour versus several hours, but the number one structural benefit you kept pointing to was maintaining that factory integrity. Why is keeping the original windshield so important?
It's more important now than it's ever been. Factory-installed windshields are put in with incredible precision, under controlled conditions. When you repair it, you avoid all the risks that can come with a replacement like wind noise or water leaks from a bad seal.
And the big one, the ADS systems.
The Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, yes.
Let's get into that. These systems have cameras and sensors right on the glass. How does changing the glass mess with them?
Well, your modern ADS, lane keep assist, automatic braking,
All the new safety features.
all of them. They rely on cameras that are calibrated to millimeter precision. It's based on the vehicle's center line and the exact curve of that original piece of glass.
So if the new glass is just a tiny bit different,
Even a fraction of a degree off or slightly thicker, it completely changes the camera's focal length and its field of view.
and that means it has to be recalibrated.
An expensive, precise recalibration that often isn't included in the initial replacement quote. Repairing the original glass just sidesteps that entire headache.
That is a very powerful argument. It sounds like replacing the glass is more like re-engineering a safety system.
In many ways it is.
And we can't ignore the environmental side of this either.
That's right. Auto glass is really, really difficult to recycle because of its laminated structure.
The plastic layer in the middle.
Exactly. So repairing the windshield you have keeps it out of a landfill.
Yeah.
And you avoid the whole environmental cost of making and shipping a brand new piece of heavy glass.
Okay, so let's talk strength. You said a good repair restores about 95% of the original strength. If it's so good, why not 100%? What's that last 5%?
So that last 5% isn't really a structural vulnerability for, daily driving or safety. It's more about cosmetic visibility and the risk of a future impact.
Okay.
The resin they use is engineered to be as strong as the glass and, crucially, to expand and contract with temperature at the same rate. So the structural integrity is fully restored. That 5% just means that if your windshield takes another hit, that repaired spot is now technically the weakest point.
And what about seeing it? Is that faint mark going to annoy me every time I drive?
It shouldn't. Under most normal driving conditions, you'll barely notice it, if at all.
But sometimes.
But yes, under certain light, especially when the sun hits it at just the right angle, you might see a faint line or a little bit of cloudiness. But you have to remember, the main job of the repair is prevention. It's stopping that crack from spreading, which is the real safety issue.
Right. So the case for professional repair is strong. It's fast. It's cheaper. It's structurally sound. which brings people to the temptation of the DIY kit from the auto parts store.
The DIY temptation, yes.
Are those things ever worth it?
It's understandable they're cheap,
Mm-hmm.
but the risks usually outweigh the savings.
Why is that?
DIY kits often use a lower-grade resin. It's less viscous, so it has a hard time getting deep into those complex cracks. They might give you a temporary cosmetic fix, but they just don't have the pressure control you need to push out all the air and moisture.
So the risk isn't just that the repair might fail. It's that a bad repair attempt could make a professional fix impossible later.
That's exactly it. If you try it yourself and you trap air bubbles or contaminants in there, that cheap resin cures and plugs up the whole pathway.
Oh, wow.
It seals the damage with bad material, and it makes it nearly impossible for a pro to go in later and do it right.
Yeah.
You've basically just forced yourself into a replacement.
So what's the professional using that I can't replicate at home? What's the key piece of tech?
It's the equipment, specifically that injector tool that uses regulated pressure and vacuum cycles.
He's right, the bridge tool.
Bridge tool.
Yeah.
It creates a pressure difference that literally sucks the air out and then forces the resin in under, hundreds of pounds of pressure. A little hand plunger can't do that. Plus, they use commercial UV lamps to make sure it cures perfectly.
And finally, there's the guarantee. If I pay a professional, I have some recourse if it fails.
That's the ultimate safety net. Professional shops give you a warranty. If that repair fails and the crack starts to spread again, a reputable company will usually apply the money you spent on the repair toward the cost of the replacement you now need.
But if you do it yourself?
You're on your own. You assume all the risk and all the cost.
So to wrap this all up, we started with that horrible thwack sound, but we're ending with a pretty clear path forward that can save you time, money, and protect your car's safety systems.
The takeaways are really simple. Remember the 6-inch rule and the location rule. A repair can save you a huge amount of money, and your insurance might even cover it completely.
And don't forget the structural benefit of keeping that factory seal, especially with all the new ADIAS technology.
Oh, and just act quickly. The sooner, the better.
It's a really compelling case for repair over replacement, as long as the damage fits those specific criteria.
And here's one final thought to leave you with next time you're looking for a repair shop.
Okay.
We talked about internal stresses in the glass, but you should also think about external ones. Your local weather-heavy snow, constant temperature swings, driving on gravel roads, all of that puts unique stress on a windshield.
Right. Things are different everywhere.
Exactly. And because of that, the type of resin used, or even the curing time, might need to be tailored to your specific climate to really last. It just raises the question of whether a generic repair is always enough, or if the best choice is always a repair that's specifically tailored to the environment you drive in every single day.
Something to mull over.